By the time the next main series Pokemon game is released, it will have been 8 years since the last new Pokemon type was introduced with the Fairy type back in 2013. Well, for the new year, the Pokemon Company has decided to do something spicy because we're going to watch the first sunrise of 2021 from the International Space Station, and there's going to be a Pokemon live-streamed event to go along with it. What they have to say about it is, some Pokemon are planning to make an appearance. You'll have to tune in to find out who. Now, 99.9%, this is just going to be regular Pokemon that are space-themed, kind of hopping in and having some fun. We're going to see Rayquaza cruise by the ship, maybe Jirachi, a couple of other cool Pokemon making an appearance, and doesn't necessarily mean new Pokemon game, some kind of announcement, new Pokemon, anything like that. But what if? Because space is pretty interesting, since a lot of people have theorized a cosmic typing for Pokemon at one point or another. Also, with the Pokemon 25th anniversary happening in late February, it doesn't really seem likely that we're going to get such a major announcement in that time frame. But let's just say we remove everything from this event and put it into a vacuum. It'd be pretty sick to have a cosmic typing revealed in this kind of way. It makes a lot of sense, and they can do it kind of like the Glimwood Tangle event. We were waiting for some kind of new Pokemon reveal for Generation 8, but they were always just throwing in Pokemon we already knew about. Hey, Pikachu. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's just a Morello. Pfft, I guess we gotta wait another couple of hours. Now, fortunately, this event isn't going to be as long, but that would be the craziest type. That would be the biggest surprise ever if they just showed us a new Pokemon floating around in space. But something about it is different enough to where it's like, could that suggest a new typing? Kind of like what we saw with Sylveon? Sylveon was just shown to be a new Eevee, and then everyone's like, alright, what's this new typing going to be? There were a lot of guesses about what this new evolution could be, but none of the existing types really fit in with it too much, and then some people even predicted like a new Pokemon type, and some people even specifically predicted the Fairy typing. A lot of people went with Light, but Fairy was also kind of a cool idea being passed around, and the same thing could happen for the Cosmic type. And it would also work with existing Pokemon, because many existing Pokemon kind of fit a space extraterrestrial theme. And another interesting note is that there's other pseudotypes in Pokemon like the sound typing. Some Pokemon have a sound theme or even very specific interactions with sound. Sound-based moves bypass substitute. There's an ability called Soundproof. But Cosmic doesn't really have any of those interactions, or like a space typing. Doesn't really have any of those interactions. However, like alien Pokemon are canon. They are seen as aliens, and they're even mentioned explicitly as aliens. So it's just kind of like, oh, Pokemon from other universes can exist. Pokemon from other planets, or just Pokemon that exist in some kind of crazy space reality. Those are real. And there's even some that you might not expect. While doing research for this video, I didn't know that Staryu and Starmie were considered extraterrestrial Pokemon. They're said to be extraterrestrials because of their star shape and their 7-colored stone, which emits radio signals into space at night. I just went, oh, it's a weird way of making a water-type starfish Pokemon work out. But no, there's actually cosmic implications for Staryu and Starmie, which I guess is also where the psychic typing comes from. And that's also another thing about Pokemon that would fit into a cosmic typing, is that they're mostly psychic type. And that's where things start getting weird for the debate about if a cosmic typing should exist, because we already have them fitting really well with psychic types, so do we really need to split up the psychic typing? And this is where I want to know what you guys think. Do you think there's actually room for a cosmic typing in Pokemon? Do you think it can stand out enough from a psychic typing without disrupting too much about psychic type Pokemon? Now, one thing that's really crazy about psychic types is that they're the 5th most common typing, which isn't something you would expect. Like, yeah, there's a lot of psychic Pokemon, like, wow, there's actually a lot of psychic Pokemon, but psychic should be like some kind of rare ability, especially if you're trying to think about it in some kind of our world versus the Pokemon world kind of context, where it's like, yeah, not everything should be a psychic, but it feels like everything can be psychic in the Pokemon world. Hell, even Pikachu isn't safe. And I think it would help to have a distinction between true psychic ability and space magic, because that really feels like what the cosmic type theme is for Pokemon. Like, how do Staryu and Starmie get their psychic powers? Well, it's actually space magic. Why do we have a moon and a sun rock kind of Pokemon that just happens to be psychic and float around? Space magic. So it really looks like there's a lot of room to take from the psychic typing and then distinguish some of these odd pseudo-psychic Pokemon, and they would also clarify some of the things between the Pokemon types. Now, one problem I have, though, is quantifying the attributes of a cosmic Pokemon. Like, yeah, you can look at something and say it's extraterrestrial, it's an alien. I mean, as I've already shown, there's many examples throughout this video, and this isn't even like half of the potential cosmic Pokemon that already exist. But if I think of something like the grass type, I can go, yeah, the weaknesses and resistances of grass type Pokemon, that makes a lot of sense. Probably not going to do good against bug, fire, ice, poison. These seem like things that would harm a leaf. And then I can also think about what a leaf Pokemon is. At the same time, I can also imagine that a leaf really isn't going to have much of an impact on a bird, but plants just soak up the water and they dig into the earth. So yeah, for the most part, a lot of the Pokemon typings, they just make sense. Even introducing something new like the Steel type, or the Dark type, or the Fairy type Pokemon, it's like, yeah, I can see all of this making sense. But for Cosmic, I mean, like, you'd just be introducing Psychic too with some Pokemon that didn't really need to be Psychic. Like, okay, how are you going to compare Clefable and Deoxys? Because now we have a base Fairy type Pokemon that was once a normal type. So now it'd be like normal into Fairy Cosmic. So Clefable would have all of these changes, but could Clefable have comparable attributes to an alien Pokemon with pseudo-psychic powers that's getting from Star Magic? I mean, maybe that's how you kind of warp and define what that cosmic power is from. That, you know, Clefable, it harnesses the power of the moon, and then it has those pseudo-psychic abilities. But it doesn't have, like, pure psychic abilities, so it's not a pure psychic typing. And that's another weird thing about the Fairy typing. The Fairy typing, with Moonlight and Moonblast, it appears that that's where we're also getting our cosmic power. So you can see from the way that some of these Pokemon typings have split off, that really Cosmic just kind of represents Psychic and Fairy powers with a little bit of moon dust or something. Now, type effectiveness is something that's really hard to pin down without making it too close to Psychic. We can look at fan projects, like this one from Project Azurite, where it's like, okay, it's super effective against normal. I could actually see that for Cosmic, but then Bug, Sound, Light, so we're starting to bring in other fan typings into this to give justification for the Cosmic typing, resisted by Grass, Rock, Ice, and Dark. Now, this is where it also gets weird. I could actually see Ice resisting Cosmic because that cold darkness in space. Same thing with Dark. But I could also see Cosmic resisting Dark because it embodies all of that. So it could have some like really weird interactions in that way. And it would be like a Psychic that instead of being weak to Dark is actually just resistant to Dark, which could be kind of cool. And then we also have just weak against Flying for some reason, Rock, I guess because like altitude, spacey things, Poison, Steel, made up types, resistances. Like, it starts getting really weird. Like I said, it starts getting really hard to quantify the attributes of all of what Cosmic would amount to when trying to put it into Pokemon terms that are based off of real life stuff, like fire consuming grass. And then even the fan projects can't agree, so we have 2 times super effective against Sound, Fire, Fighting, and Blast for Pokemon Topaz and Amethyst versions. I see it for Fire because space is a vacuum. There's nothing for fire to spread in, so that could bring into it, but there's nothing aesthetic. Like, you don't look at Behemoth and go, oh yeah, that thing's going to do super crazy damage to a fire type Pokemon and maybe even be like immune to it or heavily resist it. So that's another thing, like, you have Cosmic as an idea, but you also have Cosmic being represented as just a purely alien Pokemon. And then because Ghost Fairy and Dark are like these weird alt typings that kind of capture these abstract concepts, then they're just involved with Cosmic typing and it gets too weird. So while it makes sense, like, while you could actually split Cosmic Pokemon from Psychic Pokemon, creating a Cosmic typing in itself would be pretty difficult. And I wouldn't like it, because I like this. I like what we have going with all the existing typings in Pokemon. I don't want a new Pokemon type, because this doesn't need to get any more complicated in a kid's game. I don't want to have to relearn everything for every Pokemon, because one typing is introduced, and then dual typings get in the way, and all of that other messy stuff. I know the game tells you when something is super effective or resistant, but there's like switches, and there's other things that don't purely tell you exactly what's happening with those matchups. So I mean, even if like the opponent isn't switching, they can have other effects that are making it to where that what you click on isn't going to be what happens inside the game. And that brings me to another point. Just because Pokemon has been around for a while and we haven't had a new typing in a while doesn't mean we need a new typing. I'm really worried. One of my biggest fears for Pokemon is that it gets way too bloated, is that it just gets weighed down by trying to stack all of these unnecessary features on top of itself. We kind of saw that with Pokemon Sun and Moon, and Game Freak went, wait, this was a bad idea to have Mega Evolutions and Z moves stacked on top of each other, and then just potentially opening up to more and more bloat on top of that in the future. And I know I keep going back to this example, but I feel like it's the perfect warning sign for Pokemon to keep it simple. Yu-Gi-Oh! You look at a Yu-Gi-Oh! Playmat right now, and it's a mess. I left Yu-Gi-Oh! Right at the beginning of XYZ. I was like, this is a little too weird for me. I really liked Synchros. I felt like that was Yu-Gi-Oh! With the perfect balance of features and fun and not having to worry about too much. And then, what are those things? Pendulums came in. Pendulums got too weird. Link summons, restrictions. They also dialed back the rules now. It got too messy. And I don't want that with Pokemon, where, what about Pokemon a decade from now, where we have another 300-400 Pokemon and 2 extra typings and still no new evolutions? No one wants that. I wouldn't like that. And then it creates a trap that the game will not make any sense at some point if you have too many typings interacting with it and you start getting too fancy, you start getting too edgy with it. Like, it's already kind of weird with like Fairy and Psychic kind of being close but having 2 different interactions. Psychic loses Dark, Fairy beats Dark, but then there's Pokemon like Mr. Mime that are Psychic and Fairy, because there's like enough overlaps where that becomes a thing. So if you do that with Cosmic, if you do that with a couple of other typings, and then you just start making it to where now there's ambiguity, now things get blurred, it starts getting really weird and edgy and just doesn't work, like what we saw in Temtem. You know, they had roughly the same idea and the same concepts, but then some other things started getting involved and they might have taken it a little too far. And then it's just weird. Like, okay, so there's like a super OP type that gets to be really strong against everything, and then a type that doesn't really care about anything. If you show someone a type chart for Pokemon versus a type chart from a fan game or ROM hack or something, they're going to understand the Pokemon one a lot easier. And even me, who's played Pokemon my whole life, I look at the Temtem one and I'm like, what's going on? We have like a smoke typing, but that's actually a toxic typing, but doesn't have the attributes of poison from Pokemon because it like corrupts water, I guess. I mean, it makes sense that like toxic is bad for plants. Digital is now a thing. That's what I mean. It's like when you try to get too edgy with your concepts and you separate it from what people already understand about the real world, it just becomes a mess. And then like you think about some of the other ones, like, oh, we have the nuclear type. The hell is that gonna do? So that's a big reason I don't want to see the cosmic typing, because now we're starting to leave concepts that we can easily grasp. And that's not a good thing. So, what do I have to say about this overall? I think it's fun. I think it's cool. There's actually a lot to the cosmic typing, and like I even discovered in this video, there's more to it than I thought, because I went into this video thinking, well, we can't do that, because then we lose half our psychic typings, and then there's kind of no point to it. But no, we actually have a large enough archetype, much like Sounds, where cosmic can exist as its own typing. But I don't think it needs to, because it can. I also think that we have the perfect opportunity right now to introduce the space typing. They're doing the ISS stream, it's the new year, they're about to close the stream, and then we see a random alien-looking Pokemon kind of float in, and it has these different characteristics behind it, and then the stream cuts out. That would be hype. I would not be upset, I would not be confused, I would not be like, oh, they're just forcing this in and ruining my Pokemon. I'd just be like, oh, that is brilliant. I love it. But the problems are when you start getting into the implications of that typing. How could you make it not Psychic 2.0? How could you separate it to where the game now doesn't start feeling like a headache? It's already kind of crazy enough to break down everything else, but it's like, okay, introducing the typing's cool. Make it work inside the game, that's going to be ugly. And that's also ignoring the Pokemon 25th anniversary that's coming up, and Diamond Pearl remakes and all those other things. But like I said, if it was just like a thing and we had no idea what was going on with Pokemon, would be pretty cool. And I think it opened up for an interesting discussion. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.